Well, welcome everybody. I'm Suzanne Clausen with CruiseOne, and my husband Steve and I own our CruiseOne franchise in Sholo, Arizona, and we specialize in personalized vacation planning. So who is ready to travel down under? We are so excited, and we hope that you'll be able to join us for the cruise. This is one of our escorted group cruises, and so we're looking forward to traveling with our clients. Steve and I are avid travelers. We try to use what our experience and what we learn when we travel to help us present even better and more extraordinary vacations to our clients. We love our groups. We do lots of different types of groups. We do wine groups, we do friends and family groups, and like this one, we do escorted groups. And maybe it's a little bit of both because there's certainly wine involved in the destination for both of these cruises. We love sailing with our groups because when we're on board, we're there to be your intermediary, your advocate, to make sure that your cruise experience is exceeding your expectations in every single way. I work on behalf of my clients. I use my years of training and experience to guide my customer decisions. I like to say that with my consultative planning process, there's a cruise line to fit every style and budget, and I want to work with you and make sure that we have you matched up with the right type of cruise experience. And I'll kind of let you in on the best kept secret in travel. Many people think, well, why would I use a travel agent when I can just book it directly online with the cruise line? And a lot of people don't realize that the services of a professional travel agent are built into the price of your cruise, whether you use one or not. So if you just pay online and do an online transaction or call the call center and book that way, your price is going to be the same, or even maybe even higher than if you book through me and a well-established national account travel agency like mine. I am easily accessible. I am your advocate. You can reach me by phone, text, email, nearly 24/7. And I work for you, and I earn a commission from the cruise line. So it doesn't cost you anything to book through an experienced travel agent like mine. So I'll run briefly through what our agenda is going to be for tonight. We're going to talk about the itinerary to Australia and New Zealand. We'll talk about the beautiful celebrity ship, the Edge, and we'll talk about the difference it makes to cruise with Celebrity versus maybe some other cruise lines you're familiar with. And the best part of the presentation is going to be at the end. It's going to be our discount pricing on the cruise, and we'll show you how we can actually save you money by booking into our group. So we have two itineraries. You can sail on one or both. That makes it super flexible. But for the most comprehensive Australia, New Zealand experience, you're really going to want to book both cruises back to back. That way you see a lot of Australia and nearly all the important ports in New Zealand. So first time, we're going to take a detailed look at the New Zealand itinerary. You can see it on the screen over here. It is really a great itinerary because it includes both the North and South Islands. I have been to New Zealand before, but we only went to the North Island. So I'm super excited to go back and see more of that beautiful country. It visits all the important cities along the way. I'm just kind of listing them out along the way. And I'm super excited about going to Wellington, Dunedin, and I'll talk to you about that shortly. Now, the ship overnights in Auckland at the beginning of the cruise. And that means you could, and I would only suggest this if you book your flights through Flights by Celebrity, which has a guaranteed arrival, you could actually arrive on the day of embarkation because you do have that one-day pad. And if you book with Flights by Celebrity, they're going to make sure that they get you caught up to the ship. But I would even suggest maybe extending your stay a couple more days in Auckland. It's a beautiful city. There's plenty of things to see and do around there. And one of the things that I'd suggest for my wine lovers is a visit to Waiheke Island. It is a ferry ride from downtown Auckland, and they have a hop-on, hop-off bus that will take you to the many wineries that are in that area. It really is a fun thing. That's what we did during our day visit in Auckland. And I would go back and do that again in a heartbeat. Loved the wineries and the hospitality and the tasting experience there on Wahiki Island. After visiting Auckland, the cruise will sail to scenic Bay of Islands. And this is where a lot of the tours have to do with the natural beauty of this area, the islands and the rock formations, but there's also a cultural learning experience there. It's basically kind of the Maori Cultural Center there. It's at, let me see if I can say this right, Waitangi Treaty Grounds. And that's a museum, a cultural center. They have performances, carving demonstration, guided tours of the ground, and much more. So if you want to learn more about the Maori culture, that's definitely something that you might want to look into at Bay of Islands. Another opportunity to learn about the Maori and their Polynesian culture is in Taronga. And this is a cultural center for them. There's also white sand beaches, and there's even the area known as Hell's Gate, which is a geothermal feature. It has geysers and hot springs and all those kind of things that we associate with the geothermal activity. Napier is right near the famed Hawke's Bay agricultural area, which is known for its vineyards and its wineries. I think we've all had a bottle of wine sometime in our lives from New Zealand that said Hawke's Bay on it. There's also a chance to visit family farms there. Just a lot of different stuff you can do in Napier. Picton has a variety of things to do, including a visit to a pearl farm, and you can even take a train through Marlborough wine country, another well-known viticultural region of New Zealand. And how many of you are Lord of the Rings fans? If you are, then Wellington is your chance to visit Hobbit Town. If you're not so much into the movies, you can do this cable car that's shown in that picture, and it stops at a wildlife preserve where you can see some of the endemic birds and animals of New Zealand. So a chance to see both the flora and fauna of the area in that excursion as well. So if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings or interested in learning about New Zealand lamb and sheep farming, Christchurch has something for you. If you're a wine lover, there's even some wine loving experiences offered in this destination. So when it says Journey to Middle Earth, that's the mountain ranges where they filmed a lot of the Lord of the Rings movies. And of course, it's very scenic. That's why they picked it for the movies. I am super excited to visit Dunedin because I lived in Dunedin, Florida for 5 years, and it was when I was a teenager. Both cities celebrate their Scottish heritage, which I am part Scottish. And so this is a chance for me to visit maybe some castles and some breweries and really take in that Scottish experience. There's also wildlife viewing opportunities out here. I believe that this is the area where they have some penguins. So there's some little tiny New Zealand penguins that live in this area too. One of my favorite parts of the cruising experience is the opportunity to sail beautiful scenic areas and to see all that beautiful scenery right from the deck of your ship. And this cruise covers 3 of their fjords. They really are fjords, they call them sounds, but all in one day. Dusky, Doubtful, and Milford Sound. It's going to be a beautiful day. I mean, look at those waterfalls. It's something that's very spectacular, especially when viewed from the deck of your ship or maybe from your own private balcony. So that first cruise, New Zealand cruise, ends in Sydney. So if you don't want to take the second cruise but want to see a little bit of Australia, you could extend your time in Sydney or the surrounding areas. Or if you're ready to go home, you could take a flight straight home from there. Or even better, you could join us on the next sailing, which covers a pretty extensive part of Australia. So this itinerary hits like all the important places.
Hey, you're going all that way, all that distance, you might see both of them.
Exactly. And this hits like all the important cities in southern Australia. One of my favorite parts about Sydney is how beautiful it is at night. We will probably be leaving right about sunset time, so we may not see it lit up at night, But when we return back, if you extend your stay in Sydney, you can maybe take a harbor cruise and see this same kind of scenery. If you're doing back to back and you have that full day in Sydney, you may be able to may want to disembark the ship, go visit the rocks area, the opera house. It's all in walking distance of where the ship docks. So you wouldn't even have to take a tour. The ship may also offer a day tour for back-to-back passengers that goes out to place like the Blue Mountains or something around. So definitely on that turnover day, you could see some of Sydney on that day as well. So Hobart. Hobart is in Tasmania, and that's really exciting because I've never been to the island of Tasmania. We'll get to see, if you go on a wildlife preserve, you can see Tasmanian devils in their natural habitat. I'm sure that they are nothing like the one on the Warner Brothers cartoon, but they are pretty fierce creatures. I think they're kind of like the badgers of the Southern Hemisphere. But also in Hobart, there's opportunities for wine tasting. They have a rich art culture there, and they have a national park as well. So one of the things I'm most excited about returning to Australia is when I visited in 2018, we spent 3 days in Sydney, and obviously there are no kangaroos in Sydney. I didn't go to the zoo or the wildlife preserve or anything like that. So I did not, my visit to Australia, I did not see a single kangaroo. So one of the things that I'm excited is that this cruise visits Kangaroo Island, which is a wildlife park and has beautiful beaches, and there are supposed to be kangaroos, wallabies, koalas everywhere for you to see. So I'm super excited about that. Adelaide is an opportunity to visit the famed Barossa wine region. And for those of us that are winos or wine lovers, we've had Australian wine. That's certainly one of the more prominent regions where they make wine. You can also take a scenic drive around town if wine tasting is not your thing, but I'll probably be doing the wine tasting. So Melbourne, another great opportunity to visit wineries and see some of the smaller marsupials. There are the wallabies. They look like little tiny kangaroos. So they even have a tour that is wallabies and wine, which sounds right up my alley. After Melbourne, we'll return back to Sydney. And again, you can end your cruise there and fly straight home, or you could stay a couple extra days, tour the opera house, maybe go out to Bondi Beach, or maybe you can travel further afield with a flight like out to the outback area of Australia and a 2 or 3 day stay out there, maybe go visit Ayers Rock. I mean, there's lots of opportunities, time permitting, once you get off the ship to go see even more of Australia. So next, I'm super excited. We're going to talk about the ship. Steve and I sailed on the Celebrity Edge in December of this year. We spent about 20 days on it. Beautiful ship, absolutely loved it. And in fact, it was named by Time Magazine one of the world's greatest places in 2019. That's how innovative and impressive the ship is. Some highlights of the ship: it was introduced in 2018. It is a Forbes recommended resort at sea, and it has won so many awards that it's really too many to put on one slide. Just fabulous ship. Celebrity is known for its amazing dining options and exceptional service. The menus are all created by Michelin-starred chefs, and the crew is trained by the Forbes Institute. And they really lead the way in food quality and service on board Celebrity ships. This ship has a little different concept for the main dining concept. It features 4 main dining rooms, each with a different theme. And you can choose to either dine around if you want to have complete flexibility, dine at all 4 of the venues, just keep rotating. Or if you want to be part of our group seating, I will have a assigned group area where we can all sit together and it'll be in one of the 4 restaurants. But no fear, you can still try the food from the other menus. The way that the menu works is the right side of your menu is a traditional cruise ship rotating menu. That side is going to have a choice of appetizers, entrees, and desserts, and it rotates every night, but it's the same in each of the 4 restaurants on the same night. So on Monday, all 4 restaurants have the same menu. On Tuesday, they'll have a different menu, but it's the same in each of those four. The left side of the menu is the themed part, and they have 2 appetizers, 1 or 2 or 3 entrees, and then 1 or 2 desserts that are themed on the theme of the restaurant. And that side of the menu stays the same in that menu every night, but they're all different. So there's lots of different choices, and it doesn't matter whether you have the flexible dining where you're moving around or you have the fixed seating. You can try the food from each of the menus throughout the course of your cruise. This ship also has a vast array of specialty dining if you like to have that extra little splurge. We have dined at both the Fine Cut Steakhouse and the Rooftop Garden Grill on board the Celebrity Edge. It's a fantastic dining venue with wonderful elevated specialty dining service. And when you see how much onboard credit you're going to get when you book this cruise, you will be able to see, hey, maybe I could use some of that onboard credit to treat myself for a couple of nights of specialty dining. It is a wonderful experience on the Celebrity Edge. So entertainment. Celebrity has really outdone themselves with the theater on the Edge class ships. They have a 180-degree LED screen that projects special effects, background, animation that all enhances the show. They have fabulous singers and dancers and music and choreography that complement the talents of those singers and dancers. They have acrobats, high-flying acrobats that do all kinds of amazing things that you're like, oh, I didn't even know that was possible. They made such a huge investment in this theater that the price of the theater in 2020 dollars exceeded what the parent company, Royal Caribbean, spent on their very first custom build for a cruise ship. So this theater costs more than the whole ship did way back in the 70s. Oh, and here's a little bit of a show. I hope that's not too loud. Turn it down a little bit. Sorry about that. That was the Feel the Funk show. And Steve and I were on the ship in December when this actually debuted on the Celebrity Edge. And it featured the best funk music from the 70s to today. So it was a really wonderful show. I just wanted to show a little clip from one of their shows so you can kind of get an idea of the energy and the sound and the feel of their production shows. In addition to those production shows, they also in that main theater feature a variety of entertainers, magicians, comedians, guest singers, guest musicians. There's always a rotating variety of entertainment in those venues. And also on the Edge class ships, they have a mini production show in Eden that features singers, dancers, and acrobats. They even have tap dancers. And I love tap dancing. You don't see tap dancing done very often on a cruise ship anymore. So one of the things I really love about that Eden show is the tap dancing. And they also have jazz bands, relaxing acoustic music, party bands. So there's a style of music and show for everybody on this ship. They also have a lot of fun on Celebrity Ship. Again, I mentioned the singers, the musicians. They have interactive theme parties like the ABBA sing-along party. They have the silent disco, which is where everybody puts on headsets and there's 3 different channels. You can pick the song you're listening to, and the music's only played through the headsets. So if you're walking through the venue, you see all these crazy people dancing and having fun, but you don't hear any music. You just hear the people singing along with the music. It's quite fun. Again, a variety of bars. They have both standard drinks in places like the Martini Bar and the Eden Bar, and they also have a menu of their specialty cocktails. For example, they have like martinis in every single flavor you could ever imagine. We did a martini tasting with my group on the Beyond in March, and that was so much fun to try. I mean, we tried a pickle martini, a chocolate martini, a Bellini martini, everything. In the Eden, they have some very interesting drinks that are like smoke infused or different, have different unique liquors. There's one called the Forbidden, which is served in an apple-shaped glass, and it features like apple and apple cider and cinnamon. There's some really interesting cocktails that they have in these specialty bars on Celebrity. So next, we're going to talk about the accommodations. And the Celebrity Edge was the very first ship to introduce the infinite veranda concept. And this is pictures of our room from December. We loved having this flex space. It's indoor, outdoor space. With the touch of a button, this window comes down, and floor to, wall to wall, your room is then open, and you have this huge open window that creates your infinite veranda balcony. You can either leave it open. Well, why don't I do this? Why don't I show the video, and it'll explain it even better than I will.
We've replaced all of this structure.
That's a little loud, I'm sorry.
With essentially nothing.
This engineering feat allows...
Oops. Hang on. My bad. Technical difficulties. Hang on. I know. Hang on. There we go. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
We've replaced all of this structure with essentially nothing.
This engineering feat allowed for the creation of the new Edge staterooms with infinite veranda that are 23% larger than Celebrity's current veranda staterooms.
What I wanted to achieve here was to try and create lots of different experiences. I think in the Edge stateroom, when you walk in, you're going to know there's a difference. And for me, it was about coming up with sort of light bulb moment of creating the studio so that you could have these kind of glass partition doors that opened where you could actually then have your terrace as part of your living space. I think we created something unique in the cruise industry.
So we sailed on in the Edge class infinite verandas a couple times, and we really liked having that flex space. The infinite veranda is the standard cabin for the Aqua class category of cabin, the concierge class category of cabin, and the standard veranda. They're all the same size, 243 square feet, 42 square foot veranda. And they are about, like it said in the video, about 23% larger than a standard cabin on a typical ship. There is a larger bathroom. It's hard to tell from this picture, but the bathroom is much roomier than what you're used to seeing on a typical cruise ship. Plenty of storage space. There's all kinds of nooks and crannies and different places where you can store your wares. And they have this desk space that stretches out, so you have plenty of desk space if you need to check your email and do work while you're on the cruise ship. Although you guys don't work on a cruise ship, just me probably. So all those classes, Aqua, Concierge, and Standard Veranda, are all the same size cabin. It just varies where they are in the ship and what amenities they have. So the Concierge class cabins tend to be on higher floors, better locations, and they feature more amenities than the Standard Veranda room, including an embarkation day lunch. You get a welcome bottle of champagne. You get little snacks delivered to your room in the afternoons. And you have a dedicated customer service desk should you have any issues. You've got a much shorter line or maybe no line at all to wait in. And you earn more loyalty points per day by being in the concierge class versus the standard veranda. Now, the Aqua class, what really makes it special is that Aqua class has its own dedicated blue dining room. And I think that's the best perk of being in Aqua class. It's a smaller dining venue. You get highly personalized service. This is a picture of our hostess and our waiter and assistant waiter for our December cruise. They just took extra special care for us. There's only about 100 guests in Aqua Class. So it's much more personalized experience. That blue dining venue, again, it's a smaller venue, has its own
It's
separate
essentially a
kitchen.
specialty dining restaurant. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So you get, and they're open for breakfast. They have a wonderful breakfast menu. And I don't think they're open for lunch, even on C days. Is that correct, Steve? Just breakfast and dinner
That's
is
correct.
when they're open. But you also get use of some of the spa facilities, for which if you were not booked in Aqua Class, you would have to pay an extra surcharge to have use of those spa facilities, like the thermal suite on the ship. And a couple other amenities in the room, like enhanced shower, bath and shower amenities, and enhanced, you get a better robe, plusher robe. It's a very nice experience. We will definitely do Aqua Class again. We enjoyed it that much. So this ship also features other types of cabins. There are interior cabins, and I put this picture up because people were like, what is a porthole veranda? And these are at the very front and the very back of the ship, but still side facing. And the superstructure of the ship kind of surrounds the area. It is a traditional veranda that opens and you go outside, and it has this round metal structure around the window, around the balcony area. For those of you that are wanting the ultra luxury experience, Celebrity certainly delivers, and that is in their retreat class. The suites in there provide you with exclusive venues and amenities that really rival any small ship luxury experience. With the suite class, you get the premium drink package, you get the premium Wi-Fi package, and you get the prepaid gratuities. But in this case, you would get $1,000 of onboard credit. And I think it actually might even end up being more if I do the math. I think it would add up actually to like 1,100. Am I right, Steve? Might even be more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $600 standard, and then with our group, we have some extra, and the promotions going on, there's some extra. So I think this 1,000 is actually a little low. But it also includes butler service. You get the dining in the private Lumine dining room, which is exclusive to guests in the suite. It is up on the front of the ship. It overlooks the ocean. Absolutely stunning venue. And it has its own Daniel Boulud designed menu. You get access to the retreat lounge, the suite-only embarkation area, and debarkation lounges. So it, like I said, it rivals the small ship luxury experience, but with all the bells and whistles of the amenities that you have on a large ship, like those grand production shows and all the entertainment that comes on the large ship. So now here's
Hey,
the part you've all been
Suzanne,
waiting. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
What happened to maybe I missed the slide on the solo infinite verandas?
Oh, I didn't have one in this presentation. It was just, I'll just mention it. I'll go back and mention it. There we go. It was there. So there are some cabins on this ship. I think the reason I took them out is that they are sold out for both of these sailings. But this ship does have a few solo infinite verandas, which are designed for single occupancy passengers. All right. So let me get this. The part you've all been waiting for is our group savings. I took out an allocation about 6 to 8 months ago on this cruise. And so I have a limited number of cabins that are really deeply discounted over Celebrity's prevailing rate. It's kind of like taking out a future, if you can imagine. So our discounted group rates, this is the best part, they include the drink package, the gratuities, and the Wi-Fi. And in the next couple slides, I'm going to show you how that saves you money. But it really is a value and savings over individual rates. And most important of all, you have risk-free refundable deposits. Your deposit is completely refundable until 90 days before sailing. So you're not having to put your deposit at risk to get this deep discount. It is a refundable deposit. Okay, so now what you can see here in the black, I'll point that out over here. Those are our group rates per person for the New Zealand cruise. That is our contracted group rates. Because that is a longer cruise, you get $200 off of this rate per person if booked by July 6th. you also get a $200 onboard credit. Plus, you also qualify for our $200 per cabin early booking onboard credit. Plus, we are doing a special that for the first 10 bookings of people who attended this webinar, you get an extra bonus $100 onboard credit. So when you look at our price, I compared it to what the prevailing rates were. So this is our price for an E1 category as the example. Once you take that discount, it's $31.82 per person. Now you compare that to the no perk, non-refundable per person average price with the BOGO 75. That comes to $32.12. So you can see this has no perks. It has a non-refundable deposit and our price is lower. Then we've got the all-included non-refundable deposit rate with the BOGO 75. It's $4,091. So you're getting the same perks as this one, plus an extra early booking onboard credit, and your price is lower. So it really is an absolutely the best value that you can find with a celebrity cruise. Now, moving on to the Australia cruise. Same scenario. This is a shorter cruise, so the 9-night cruise only gets $100 off per person. So you're going to take our E1 example. We've got a rate of $26.56. You're going to take $100 off of that, and you get the $25.56. Now, the current no perk, non-refundable deposit rate, which only has $200 of onboard credit, is a little bit less. It's $281 less. But you would have to pay your gratuities anyway, right? So 9 times $17.50 for the gratuities is $157, which means you're only paying $123.50 for your gratuities and your Wi-Fi. Plus, you're getting an extra $300 onboard credit that you wouldn't get if you booked with Celebrity Direct today. So yeah, and well, yeah, so you get the drink package and the Wi-Fi, and you get the $300 of onboard credit. So $123 is not much to pay for 9 days worth of drinks and Wi-Fi. And you're really not even paying that because you got an extra $300 onboard credit. So ours is definitely the best value in this case. And if you compare it to the non-refundable deposit rate here for the all included, you can see that it's about a $400 savings per person over that rate as well. Okay, there's more. I feel like Billy Mays. If you book both cruises back to back, you save $100 off the New Zealand sailing and $50 off the Australian sailing, because it's based, and that's per room, but it's based on the length of cruise. So you get an additional savings on both cruises. So we also want to let you know that we have some other group cruises coming up in the next year and a half or 2 years. And we just wanted to highlight those for you really quickly. So we do both escorted and we do like promotional group cruises where I've just taken out space in order to offer my clients an additional savings. We have got an 8-night Celebrity Mexican Riviera. We have got 2 cruises back to back in April, and the second one right here is not only escorted by us, but it is hosted by a Paso Robles winemaker who will be doing onboard wine tasting for that on that cruise. That is an 8-night Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao cruise. And we still have discounted prices on that, and the onboard program is complimentary at no extra charge. We also work with other cruise lines like Holland America. We do have some groups to Alaska. We also have some longer cruises. We have Norwegian fjords on Celebrity. We have a 7-night Holy Land in Egypt. And then we've got in December of 2024, we are doing an entertainment themed cruise, and it will feature a Liza Minnelli tribute artist who is also me. It's a long story, but that's sort of my hobby, and I do it. I said, why not combine the 2 things I love, Liza Minnelli and a cruise? So we're doing a Liza Minnelli themed cruise, and then we have these cruises that we're doing this year. We also do river cruises. We've got one going to the Douro, and we're escorting that one. We've got Rhine and Moselle escorted, and then we also have some discounted prices on the Danube that are not escorted, but if that's on your list, I've got a great price for you. CruiseOne, so if none of these dates work for you, CruiseOne is a national account with celebrities. So what that means is that we have access to discounted pricing on thousands of cabins on a variety of sailings. So if these dates don't work for you, please reach out to me. We have what is called like our headquarters block space, and that is space that I can book into that has virtually the same benefits of booking into my own escorted group. It just doesn't have us along there with you to make sure that everything is exceeding your expectations. But we can help you with all your needs with celebrity. It doesn't have to be one of these cruises that we've just mentioned. As long as you have some flexibility with your cabin type and your sailing date, I can find you one of those discounted rates. Oh, and also it helps to book at least a year in advance to take advantage of those, because it's a limited allocation. And once they're gone, I don't have any more access to it. Okay, so recapping our presentation, book by July 6th for that savings and that extra onboard credit. And then we have extra savings for you if you book both cruises back to back. We have the risk-free refundable deposits with our group. And all of our groups include beverages, Wi-Fi, and prepaid gratuities. Plus, if you are one of the first 10 bookings after our presentation, you get an additional $100 on your cruise in onboard credit. So I urge you, if this is something you're interested in doing, please call me as soon as possible. We'll get you booked, and you'll be able to take advantage of this $100 in onboard credit. We do have a limited allocation of cabins, so if you're thinking about going, book now before they're gone. What were you going to say, Steve?
$100, that extra $100 bonus for being here at the webinar is for any celebrity booking, not just Australia, New Zealand.
Yes, but it's the first 10. It's first 10. There is a limit to the number we can offer that on. All right, so that's my closing slide. Are there any additional questions or comments or things you need me to scroll back to get clarification on?
Remember, you have to
I'm here
unmute
to
yourself.
answer. Or put it
You have
in
to
the...
unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
Yes, Steve. Some of the Australia cruises, when they get down there for the excursions and stuff, they switch to Australian dollars. Does this one stay all US dollars?
I believe that this one will stay in US dollars because it is not an Australian season. I don't know how to explain it. There's some ships that are stationed in Australia year round, and this ship goes back and forth. So it is not a year round Australian sailing. So everything should be in US dollars.
Provided you book it through Celebrity. If you booked it third party, then it could be different.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Mary says she's ready to book.
All right, that's great. Okay, I'm gonna just scroll over here. Finally, we would love to have you join us. Please call or email if you want a complete quote. Like I said before, our quantities are limited and it's first come, first serve. So if you're interested, please reach out to me. This is how you can contact me. Oh, another question?
Yeah, we're interested.
Okay, well, give me a call.
I just sent you an email.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. So quantities are limited. It is first come, first serve. So please reach out to me. This is how you can contact me. You can email me at sclausen@cruiseone.com. You can call me 855-367-4730. Visit our website. And you can also check out, if you want to learn more about some of those other itineraries, our YouTube page. We have webinars on cruises.
Did she answer?
All right. One more
other
question.
One thing I would add real quickly is we currently have seven cabins booked for New Zealand and 6 for Australia. So we got a good group started.
Okay, so excursions. Sometimes it's obviously best to take the one booked by the ship, because if they're late, they hold for you. But is that the way you guys are looking at excursions on this trip? Or are you looking at booking some side excursions that are not through the cruise line?
So
usually,
oh, go ahead. You want to go ahead, Steve?
No, I was just say it depends on the number of people that we get in the group. if we get a decent sized group, yes, we're going to probably try to do some private excursions or small group excursions for just the group to go do. And
And
we'll
I
have
are
to look at
interested in the back to
what
back. Please
options.
give us a call.
And one of the things I always like to do is look at the length of time that we need to do the excursion and how long we're going to be in port. And I try to use my logic there. Okay, if we need 4 hours to do this excursion and we're going to be in port for 8 hours, then I may look at a third-party excursion. If it is an 8-hour excursion and we're in port for 8.5 hours, I'm only going to look at celebrity excursions. So does that make sense? I mean, I try to use some common sense there.
Yeah,
And most of the excursions that I mentioned kind of as opportunities in this presentation were all based on the celebrity excursions that are offered.
Did get your email, Mandy and John.
Right. Thanks.
Okay,
All right.
great.
All right, so do we want to go ahead and stop the
Yeah, go ahead and
recording
stop
and
the
then
recording,
just,
then we
yeah.
can
All right, thanks
add
for
some shy people.
watching.